The Apache king's wedding turned into a battle. The sky burned. But he won her heart. The Apache king was known across the land as a strong and brave leader. People respected him not only because he was powerful, but because he cared deeply for his tribe. He was not the type of ruler who sat far away and gave orders without listening. Instead, he walked among his people, heard their problems, and tried to solve them with fairness. His name was spoken with honor, and his presence brought confidence to those who followed him. From a young age, he had learned the ways of his people. He was trained to ride horses, to read the land, to understand the weather, and to protect his community. Life had not been easy for him. He had faced many difficult days, including times of conflict and loss. These experiences made him stronger. They also made him more thoughtful. He knew that power without wisdom could bring harm, but strength with kindness could bring peace. Even though he carried many responsibilities, there was something missing in his heart. He had friends and loyal followers, but he had never found someone who truly understood him. Many women admired him, yet he did not feel a deep connection with anyone. He believed that if love came, it would come naturally without pressure or force. One day, during a gathering between nearby communities, he met a woman who would change his life. She was not part of his tribe, but she had come with her family for peaceful discussions. From the moment he saw her, he noticed something different. She was calm, respectful, and confident. She did not try to impress others with loud words. Instead, she listened carefully and spoke with honesty. Their first meeting was simple. It was not planned as a romantic encounter. They spoke during a discussion about trade and cooperation. The king was impressed by her intelligence. She asked thoughtful questions and shared ideas that showed she understood the needs of people. He realized that she was not only beautiful on the outside, but also strong inside. As days passed, they met again during community events. Each conversation made their connection deeper. They talked about their dreams, their childhood memories, and their hopes for the future. The king felt comfortable around her. He could speak openly without fear of judgment. She also felt safe in his presence. She admired the way he treated others with respect. However, their growing bond did not go unnoticed. Some people were happy to see them together, but others were unsure. Different traditions and past disagreements created tension between certain groups. There were concerns about how their relationship might affect alliances. Some elders worried about change. They feared that new relationships could disturb the balance that had been built over many years. The king understood these concerns. He did not ignore them. Instead, he listened carefully to both sides. He believed that true leadership meant bringing people together, not separating them. He also believed that love should not create fear. If handled with honesty and respect, it could build bridges. As their relationship became stronger, the king decided to speak openly about his feelings. He knew that hiding the truth would only create confusion. During a gathering, he expressed his intention to marry the woman he loved. He explained that his decision came from his heart and that he hoped the union would bring unity and peace. The announcement brought mixed reactions. Many supported him and wished him happiness. Others remained silent, thinking carefully about the future. The woman herself felt both joy and concern. She loved the king, but she also understood the responsibility that came with being his partner. She knew that her life would change. She would no longer live only for herself or her family. She would share her journey with a leader and his people. Despite the challenges, their commitment grew stronger. They spent time preparing for the wedding. The event was planned to be a celebration of unity. Families from different areas were invited. Food was prepared, songs were arranged, and decorations were made with care. The king wanted the wedding to show peace, respect, and hope. In the days before the ceremony, the king remained focused on his duties. He continued to protect his land and ensure safety for everyone. He did not let excitement distract him from his responsibilities. This balance showed his maturity. He understood that leadership did not stop for personal events. The woman also prepared herself for the new role she would take. She spoke with elders, learned more about traditions, and tried to understand the customs of her future home. She wanted to show respect and build trust. Her calm nature helped ease worries among some community members. Slowly, more people began to accept the idea of the marriage. As the wedding day approached, excitement filled the air. People traveled from near and far to attend. The atmosphere felt hopeful. Music was practiced and the preparations seemed complete. The king looked forward to the ceremony with happiness. He believed this day would mark a new beginning not only for him, but for his people. Yet deep inside, he remained aware that change sometimes brings uncertainty. He knew that strong emotions could rise when traditions shift. Even so, he trusted his leadership and the love he shared with his bride-to-be. He believed that honesty and courage would guide him through any difficulty. On the night before the wedding, he spent time thinking about his journey. He remembered the struggles he had faced and the lessons he had learned. He reflected on how far he had come. From a young warrior to a respected king, his path had been shaped by experience. Now he was about to begin a new chapter as a husband. The woman, too, spent quiet moments reflecting on her decision. She knew she was choosing a life that would include both joy and responsibility. She was not afraid, but she was thoughtful. She trusted the king because he had shown respect and sincerity from the beginning. As the sun rose on the wedding day, hope filled the land. The ceremony was ready to begin. People gathered with smiles and expectations. The king stood tall, not only as a ruler, but as a man in love. He felt grateful for the support of those around him and confident in the future he was building. At that moment, everything seemed peaceful. The story of their love had started with simple conversations, grown through understanding, and reached this important day. The king believed that whatever challenges might come, he would face them with strength and wisdom. His heart was steady, and his purpose was clear. This was the beginning of a new life chapter, where love and leadership would meet, and where a strong bond would soon be tested by unexpected events. But for now, the focus remained on unity, hope, and the promise of a shared future. After the wedding preparations were complete, the mood in the community slowly began to change. Many people were excited, but some still felt unsure. They respected the king and trusted his decisions, yet they worried about how this marriage might affect relationships between different groups. Even small misunderstandings from the past were remembered by a few elders. These thoughts created quiet tension in the background, even though no one spoke loudly about it. The king noticed this change in the atmosphere. He was observant and sensitive to the feelings of his people. He did not want anyone to feel left out or ignored. He believed that a good leader must care about every voice, even if it is soft. Because of this, he decided to speak with community elders before the wedding ceremony. He wanted to make sure that everyone understood his intentions clearly. During the meeting, he explained that his love was not only a personal choice. He said it was also a step toward unity. He hoped the marriage would build stronger connections between families and create new friendships. He spoke calmly and respectfully. His words were honest, and he did not try to force anyone to agree with him. Instead, he asked for trust and patience. Some elders nodded in understanding. They appreciated his openness. Others remained quiet but thoughtful. They realized that the king was not acting on impulse. He had carefully considered his decision. This helped reduce some of the doubts. Slowly, the mood began to improve. Conversations became more positive, and people started preparing for the wedding with renewed energy. Meanwhile, the bride-to-be continued her own preparations. She understood that marrying a king was not only about love. It also meant becoming a part of a larger responsibility. She would need to represent the values of kindness, respect, and unity. She spent time learning more about the traditions of the tribe. She asked questions politely and listened carefully to the answers. Her behavior impressed many people around her. She also spent time thinking about her future life. She knew there would be challenges. Moving into a new role would require patience and strength. However, she believed in the king's vision. She trusted that together they could make a positive difference. Her confidence grew stronger each day. As the wedding day approached, preparations continued across the land. Families cooked special meals, decorated gathering spaces, and practiced songs for celebration. The event was meant to bring joy and togetherness. Children laughed as they helped with small tasks. Young people shared excitement about the celebration. Even those who had doubts began to feel the happiness spreading around them. The king made sure everything was organized carefully. He assigned trusted helpers to manage different responsibilities. He wanted the ceremony to be smooth and peaceful. He also arranged security measures, not because he expected trouble, but because he believed in being prepared. He always planned ahead, thinking about both the best and the unexpected possibilities. On the evening before the wedding, a large gathering was held. Music filled the air, and people came together to share food and stories. The king and his bride-to-be sat among the guests, smiling and greeting everyone warmly. They moved from group to group, thanking people for their support. Their kindness helped strengthen the sense of unity. During the gathering, many people offered blessings and good wishes. They hoped the marriage would bring stability and cooperation. The bride's family also expressed their gratitude. They felt proud of her courage and maturity. They saw how she had adapted to a new environment with grace. This reassured them that she would be respected in her new home. As night fell, the atmosphere felt peaceful. Stars appeared in the sky, and soft lights illuminated the celebration area. The king took a moment alone to reflect. He thought about the journey that had brought him to this point. He remembered the early days of his leadership when he was still learning how to guide others. He had faced difficult decisions before, but this moment felt different because it was personal and meaningful. He also thought about the woman he loved. He admired her strength and intelligence. She was not afraid to share her opinions, yet she did so with respect. He believed that their partnership would be based on mutual understanding. He felt thankful that fate had brought them together. The bride also spent a quiet moment reflecting. She looked at the preparations and the people gathered around her. She felt a mix of excitement and responsibility. She knew that her role would include supporting the king and helping build harmony among communities. She was ready to accept this challenge. Her heart felt calm and determined. As the final preparations were completed, everything seemed ready for the ceremony. The leaders of the community prepared to begin the formal events. The king stood confidently, dressed in traditional attire that represented his people's culture. The bride wore clothing that honored both her background and her new home. Together, they looked forward to exchanging promises in front of their community. Before the ceremony began, the king addressed the gathering one more time. He thanked everyone for coming and for supporting their union. He spoke about respect, cooperation, and shared future goals. His words were simple but powerful. People listened carefully. Many felt proud to see their leader speaking with humility. The bride then shared a short message. She expressed her gratitude and her hope for unity. She promised to serve the community with kindness and dedication. Her voice was gentle but clear. Her sincerity touched many hearts. The moment felt meaningful and full of hope. Laughter and conversation filled the area once again. People believed that this marriage could mark the beginning of a new chapter. Although there were still small concerns in some minds, the overall feeling was positive. Trust was slowly growing stronger. The king felt confident that his love and leadership were aligned. He believed that if challenges appeared in the future, they would face them together. He did not expect an easy path, but he trusted in patience and cooperation. He understood that relationships require effort, communication, and understanding. As the night continued, the celebration carried on with music and dance. Families shared stories and enjoyed the moment. The wedding had become more than just a ceremony. It was turning into a symbol of unity. The king and his bride walked among their people, thanking them personally. Their smiles reflected hope and gratitude. Even though some uncertainties still existed in the background, the foundation of trust was stronger than before. The community had witnessed the sincerity of their leader. They had seen the bride's commitment. This helped reduce tension and build confidence in the future. By the end of the evening, the land felt calmer. The wedding preparations were nearly complete, and everything seemed ready for the next day's ceremony. The king and his bride felt closer than ever. They understood that their journey together would require teamwork and understanding. The morning of the wedding arrived with bright sunlight and clear skies. The air felt fresh, and everything seemed peaceful. People were busy preparing for the ceremony, and soft music could be heard in the background. The king stood near the gathering area, making sure every detail was in place. He looked calm, but inside his heart, he felt a mix of excitement and responsibility. This day meant a lot to him, not only as a ruler, but as a man ready to begin a new life with the woman he loved. The bride was also getting ready. Her family helped her with care and respect. She felt happy, but she also understood that this was a serious moment. She was about to stand beside a leader in front of the whole community. She took a deep breath and reminded herself to stay calm and confident. She trusted the king and believed in their future together. As guests gathered, the celebration area became full of energy. People wore traditional clothing, and children ran around happily. Elders sat in groups, sharing quiet conversations. Everything seemed to move toward the ceremony without any problems. The king and the bride finally saw each other from a distance. Their eyes met and they both smiled. It was a simple moment, but it carried deep meaning. The ceremony began with blessings and speeches. Leaders spoke about unity, respect, and cooperation. The king listened carefully. He felt proud of his people and grateful for their support. When it was his turn to speak, he walked forward with confidence. He thanked everyone for being present. He shared his hope that this marriage would strengthen connections between families and create peace. The bride then stepped forward. She spoke with kindness and honesty. She promised to support the community and respect its traditions. Her words were simple but strong. Many people felt impressed by her maturity. She did not show fear. Instead, she showed determination. Just as the ceremony was about to move to the next stage, a sudden change in the atmosphere occurred. Some distant voices were heard, and people looked around in confusion. A group that had disagreements in the past had arrived unexpectedly. They were not part of the celebration, and their presence created tension. Some guests became nervous, unsure of what would happen. The king noticed the change immediately. He stayed calm and signaled his trusted leaders to observe the situation carefully. He did not want panic to spread among the people. He gently asked everyone to remain in place and avoid fear. His voice was steady, which helped many guests feel more secure. The group that had arrived began speaking loudly. They expressed concerns about the marriage and claimed it might change certain agreements. Their words were filled with strong emotions. The celebration area became quiet as people listened. The bride stood beside the king, holding her ground with confidence. She did not step back. She trusted the king and believed in their unity. The king approached the group with respect. He asked them to explain their worries clearly. Instead of responding with anger, he listened. He believed that understanding was better than conflict. He invited them to discuss their concerns peacefully. Some members of the group hesitated, but others continued speaking with intensity. As the discussion continued, emotions grew stronger. The crowd felt tension building. The sky, once bright and calm, began to look cloudy. The peaceful celebration slowly turned into a situation filled with uncertainty. The king realized that he had to act carefully to protect his people. He instructed his leaders to move guests to safe areas. He wanted to make sure that families and children were protected first. His main focus was safety and calmness. The bride stayed close to him, showing her support. She whispered words of encouragement, reminding him to stay strong. The opposing group believed their actions were necessary to express their concerns. However, the king continued to invite dialogue instead of confrontation. He spoke about unity and future cooperation. He explained that the marriage was not meant to harm anyone, but to build stronger relationships. His words were clear and respectful. Despite his efforts, the situation became more intense. Some members of the group reacted emotionally, and the celebration area became crowded with movement. The king quickly organized his trusted guards to ensure order. They formed a protective circle around the guests, focusing on keeping everyone safe. The bride showed courage during this moment. Instead of hiding, she stepped forward and spoke calmly to the group. She said that fear should not control decisions. She explained that their marriage was based on love and mutual respect. Her voice was steady, and many people listened carefully to her words. Her bravery surprised some of the opponents. They had not expected her to speak with such confidence. Slowly, the atmosphere began to change. Some members of the group started to realize that the king and his bride were not enemies. They were trying to build peace. The king continued to emphasize understanding. He suggested forming a meeting after the ceremony to address concerns in a proper way. He wanted discussions to happen in a calm environment, not during a celebration. His leadership style focused on patience and respect. As conversations continued, the tension started to decrease. The guards maintained order, but no harsh actions were taken. The king's calm behavior helped prevent the situation from becoming worse. People began to understand that cooperation was better than disagreement. The bride stood beside the king throughout the event. Her presence gave him strength. Together, they showed unity in front of everyone. This display of partnership was powerful. It demonstrated that their bond was not weak under pressure. After some time, the group agreed to pause their actions and discuss matters later. The king thanked them for being willing to talk. He assured them that their voices would be heard. This decision helped calm the crowd further. The wedding area was still slightly disturbed, but order slowly returned. Guests who had moved to safer places began to come back. The music resumed softly and people started talking again. The sky, which had looked cloudy, began to clear. The ceremony was not fully complete yet, but the king and the bride felt proud. They had faced an unexpected challenge together. Instead of allowing fear to control the moment, they had chosen patience and leadership. Their teamwork had prevented greater problems. The event had changed from a simple celebration into a test of strength and unity. The king proved that he was not only a ruler during peaceful times, but also during difficult situations. The bride proved that she was not just a partner in celebration, but also in responsibility. As the day moved forward, both of them understood that their marriage would not always be easy. There would be more challenges in the future. However, they now had experience working together under pressure. This made their bond even stronger. The wedding day, though interrupted, became a powerful lesson for everyone present. It showed that calm leadership, respectful communication, and courage can turn a tense situation into an opportunity for growth. The sky eventually cleared completely, and hope returned to the gathering. The king and his bride stood together, ready for whatever would come next. They knew that their journey had already begun, not just with promises, but with real action. The events of the day proved that their partnership could survive difficult moments. After the tense situation settled, the king did not rush to continue the celebration. He understood that the emotions of the day needed time to calm down. Even though the crowd had started to relax, he could see that some people were still worried. So he decided to speak again, not as someone trying to win an argument, but as a leader who wanted peace for everyone. He gathered the community in one place and thanked them for their patience. His voice was steady and respectful. He explained that unexpected challenges can happen in life, especially when change is involved. He said that true strength is not about reacting quickly with anger, but about staying calm and finding solutions. Many people listened carefully to his words. They could see that he was thinking about everyone, not only himself. The bride stood beside him during this moment. She did not speak much, but her presence showed support. People noticed how united they were. Even after facing tension, they were still together. This gave comfort to many guests. It showed that their relationship was built on trust. The king then invited the leaders who had concerns to sit with him in a quiet area. He did not want the discussion to happen in front of the crowd. He believed private conversation would help everyone speak honestly. The bride also joined the meeting, showing that she was ready to understand the issues. In the meeting, the concerns were discussed more calmly. The group explained their worries about future agreements and traditions. The king listened without interrupting. He nodded and asked questions to understand their point of view better. He did not promise things quickly. Instead, he suggested creating a clear plan that would protect everyone's interests. He proposed forming a small council made of representatives from different sides. This council would meet regularly to discuss matters and prevent misunderstandings. The idea was simple but powerful. It would give everyone a voice. The group slowly began to see that the king wanted fairness. The bride also shared her thoughts. She spoke about cooperation and respect. She explained that she was not there to change everything suddenly. She wanted to learn and contribute in a positive way. Her words were gentle but confident. This helped reduce doubts in the room. After some discussion, both sides agreed to continue conversations in the future. The tension that had appeared earlier was now replaced with understanding. It was not perfect, but it was progress. The king felt relieved that no one had been harmed and that communication had helped solve the problem. When the meeting ended, the king returned to the celebration area. He saw that people were waiting with hope. The music started again, and the atmosphere slowly became lively. Although the wedding had been interrupted earlier, it was now time to continue the ceremony. The sky was now completely clear. Sunlight shone warmly over the gathering. This felt like a sign of new beginnings. The king and the bride stood in front of their people once again. This time, everyone could see how strong their bond had become after facing difficulty together. The final part of the ceremony included traditional promises. The king promised to lead with fairness and to protect the unity of the community. He promised to listen to different opinions and work toward cooperation. His words were simple but meaningful. People felt that he truly understood his responsibilities. The bride also made her promise. She said she would stand by her partner, support positive efforts, and help strengthen relationships between families. She promised to respect traditions and encourage understanding. Her voice showed sincerity. Many guests felt inspired by her courage. When the promises were completed, there was a moment of silence. Then the crowd began to cheer. Music grew louder and people celebrated with happiness. The wedding, which had faced tension, now felt even more special because it had survived challenges. The celebration was no longer just about two people joining together. It had become a symbol of unity and resilience. Later in the evening, the king and the bride walked among their guests. They thanked families personally for their support. They spoke with elders, children, and community members. Their kindness made everyone feel valued. The bride's warm smile and the king's respectful greetings strengthened trust. The events of the day had taught everyone an important lesson. Problems can appear suddenly, but calm leadership and honest conversation can solve many issues. The king proved that patience is more powerful than reaction. The bride proved that courage and understanding can make a big difference. As night arrived, the celebration continued peacefully. Lanterns glowed softly, and music created a joyful mood. People danced and shared stories. Laughter filled the air. The tension from earlier in the day felt like a distant memory. What remained was unity and hope. The king and his bride sat together for a quiet moment. They reflected on everything that had happened. They realized that their relationship had already been tested. Because they faced the challenge together, their connection became stronger. They felt proud of how they handled the situation. The king thanked his bride for her strength. He told her that her courage helped calm the crowd. She replied that his leadership and patience made everything possible. They both understood that they worked as a team. Their respect for each other grew deeper. Before the night ended, the king addressed the community one final time. He said that the wedding day would always be remembered, not only for the celebration, but for the unity that followed a difficult moment. He encouraged everyone to continue communicating openly in the future. He reminded them that differences should be solved with discussion, not silence. The people agreed. They felt that their leader had shown wisdom. The bride had also earned their respect. The wedding day became a turning point for the community. It showed that even when situations become complicated, cooperation can bring balance back. When the celebration finally ended, the king and his bride returned to their home under the quiet night sky. They felt tired but peaceful. The events of the day had tested them, but they had succeeded together. There was no doubt that their journey would include more challenges, but now they had confidence in each other. After the long and unforgettable wedding day, life slowly returned to normal in the community. The celebration had ended, but the meaning of that day stayed in people's hearts. Many talked about how the king handled the difficult moment with calmness. They respected how he chose discussion instead of anger. The bride also became more admired because of her bravery and gentle speech. Together, they had shown that unity is stronger than fear. In the days that followed, the king focused on rebuilding full trust and strengthening communication. He started organizing regular meetings with different community members. These meetings were not formal or strict. They were simple gatherings where people could share ideas and concerns. The king believed that when people feel heard, they feel valued. And when they feel valued, they support each other more. The bride joined these meetings as well. She listened carefully to people's thoughts and asked thoughtful questions. She did not try to take control. Instead, she encouraged cooperation. She often spoke about respect between families and the importance of understanding different points of view. Her words were calm and clear, and people appreciated her honesty. Slowly, the community began to feel more connected. The tension that had once appeared during the wedding was replaced with open conversations. Even those who had doubts earlier now felt comfortable expressing themselves. The king made sure that everyone had equal opportunity to speak. He did not show favoritism. This fairness increased trust among the people. At home, the king and his bride built a strong partnership. They spent time talking about their plans for the future. They discussed how to improve education, trade, and cooperation between groups. They believed that progress should benefit everyone, not only a few. Their relationship was not only about personal happiness, it was also about shared responsibility. The bride brought fresh ideas that helped improve daily life. She encouraged programs that supported families and young people. She believed that strong communities start with good support systems. The king respected her suggestions and worked to implement them carefully. Together, they formed a balanced team. One important step they took was creating the council they had discussed earlier. Representatives from different areas were selected to join the council. This group met regularly to discuss concerns before they became problems. The king attended these meetings personally. He wanted to stay involved and understand the needs of his people directly. This new system helped prevent misunderstandings. When people had questions, they could share them openly. The council listened and worked on solutions. Because of this, small issues were solved quickly before growing bigger. The community became more peaceful and cooperative over time. The king also focused on strengthening relationships with nearby communities. He organized friendly gatherings, cultural events, and shared activities. These events helped people from different backgrounds learn about each other. Instead of fear, there was curiosity. Instead of distance, there was connection. The bride played an important role in these efforts. She visited families, listened to their stories, and showed respect for their traditions. Her kindness made her well-liked. People saw that she truly cared. She was not only a queen in title, but also in action. As months passed, the bond between the king and his bride grew even stronger. They supported each other in every decision. When challenges appeared, they discussed them calmly. They did not argue loudly. They believed in solving problems through conversation. This healthy communication became a model for others. One day, the community faced a different kind of challenge. A season of heavy weather affected crops and daily activities. This created concern among families. Instead of panic, the king organized support efforts. He made sure food and resources were shared fairly. The bride helped coordinate assistance programs. Their teamwork ensured that no family felt alone during this time. The people noticed how their leaders worked side by side. This increased respect and gratitude. They understood that leadership is not about standing above others, but about standing with them. The king and his bride showed this clearly through their actions. Over time, the earlier tension became just a memory. The wedding day that had once turned into a test was now remembered as the moment that strengthened unity. People often said that if the challenges had not happened, the community might not have grown so close. The difficult moment had taught everyone valuable lessons. The king often reflected on this journey. He realized that true victory is not about control, but about understanding. He felt proud that he had remained calm during pressure. He knew that if he had reacted with emotion, the situation could have become worse. Instead, patience helped protect everyone. The bride also reflected on her journey. She remembered the uncertainty she felt before the wedding. Now, she felt confident in her role. She had become an important voice in the community. She was grateful for the opportunity to contribute. Her life had changed, but she felt fulfilled. Together, they decided to continue improving communication. They encouraged young people to learn leadership skills based on respect and cooperation. They believed that future generations should grow up with values of kindness and unity. They supported education programs that focused on problem-solving and teamwork. Their partnership became an example for others. Families started discussing issues more openly. Disagreements were handled with conversation instead of silence. The community culture slowly improved. People felt safer expressing opinions because they knew their voices mattered. Years later, when people remembered the wedding, they did not focus on the tension alone. They remembered how the king stayed calm. They remembered how the bride spoke with courage. They remembered how the community came together afterward. The event became a story of growth, not conflict. The king and his bride continued to lead with fairness and understanding. They attended events, supported families, and listened to concerns. Their relationship remained strong because it was built on trust. They respected each other's ideas and valued teamwork. In quiet moments, they would sit together and watch the sunset. They would talk about their achievements and future dreams. They understood that success is not a single moment. It is a continuous effort. Every day required patience, listening, and care. The wedding that once seemed like it might become a problem instead became a powerful turning point. It showed that challenges can lead to progress when handled wisely. The sky that had felt uncertain that day now symbolized hope. The king did not just win the heart of the woman he loved. He won the trust of his people through leadership. The bride did not just enter a new role. She helped shape a stronger and more united community. Together, they proved that love combined with responsibility can create lasting change. Their story continued beyond the wedding. It became a story of unity, understanding, and steady growth. And in the end, what mattered most was not the moment of tension, but the strength they built afterward.